Walking across the fields, grasslands, marshes, and neighborhoods in North America is an iconic, noisy bird known as the Sandhill Crane. Sandhill cranes are large, standing about 3 to 5 feet tall, with long legs, a long neck, and a sharp bill. Their coloration is variable, but is normally gray with some coppery tones and a red crown. Their bugling vocalizations sound almost prehistoric, and are caused by their long tracheas that actually wrap into their sternum, creating a low, resonant noise. Their vocalizations may sound prehistoric because, well, they probably are. The taxonomic order of cranes is actually believed to be one of the oldest on the planet in regards to birds, with fossil records dating back to just after the extinction of the dinosaurs. The breeding range of the Sandhill crane extends north, covering much of Canada and the northern US, and they migrate through most of the continental US on their way down to their wintering areas, with some moving as far south as Mexico. There are 2 migratory subspecies known as lesser and greater Sandhill cranes, as well as year-round subspecies populations in Cuba, Mississippi, and Florida. During the breeding season, mating displays occur, with Sandhill cranes stretching their wings, bowing, jumping, and moving their heads in an effort to court their mate. This species can sometimes reach breeding age around 2 years, although some don't breed until around age 7. They mate for life and accompany their mates year-round, so if you see a pair hanging out in your neighborhood, they are likely together, and it's possible they could return to the same place year after year. Nesting occurs in wetlands, marshes, bogs, prairies, or really anywhere where there's a connection between wetland and drier grass. On the edges of these areas, Sandhill cranes build a mounded bed out of reeds and other grasses. Both partners help build the nest, which is normally between 30 and 40 inches in diameter. The pair will have between 1 to 3 eggs that are olive or brown in color, with some darker markings, although normally only one of the young survives to adulthood. Young Sandhill cranes, known as colts, are tan in color and retain much of this color until they grow their adult plumage. Although the young cranes can leave the nest in as little as 8 hours, adults can spend as many as 10 months caring for their colts, and they normally stay with their parents through the winter, before going off on their own in the spring. During the winter, and in migration, breeding and non-breeding Sandhill cranes form enormous flocks that roost and feed together. These flocks can number in the tens of thousands of birds, and are quite a sight to behold. In flight, Sandhill cranes can be identified by their long neck and outstretched legs. According to the Cornell Lab of Ornithology, the oldest Sandhill crane on record was at least 37 years and 3 months old. Sandhill cranes feed on seeds, berries, insects, invertebrates, and small vertebrates, including reptiles, amphibians, fish, and mammals. Observers are often shocked to see cranes spearing down and then eating animals such as gophers, which isn't your idea of typical food for an elegant-looking crane. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, Sandhill crane populations experienced a sharp decline due to habitat loss, hunting, and human disturbance. In Wisconsin, it said that there was only about 25 breeding pairs left in the state at one point. On the forefront of the conservation effort was a man named Aldo Leopold. Leopold is considered by some to be the father of modern conservation, and observed and advocated strongly for the conservation of cranes. His book, The Sand County Almanac, helped lay the groundwork for modern conservation. Thankfully, due to laws such as the Migratory Bird Treaty Act of 1918, which reduced hunting of many bird species, population monitoring, the creation of refuges, and conservation awareness due to those such as Leopold, populations have recovered, and Sandhill cranes are considered a common species in many places. Partners in Flight estimates their breeding population to be at about 560,000 birds. While it might be surprising to some people, given the recovery of the Sandhill crane population, there's currently regulated hunting of them in many states. with proponents stating that cranes are actually quite tasty, with some calling it the ribeye of the sky for its alleged similarity to beefsteak. In addition to hunters, there's also a conflict of interest with farmers, who dislike the crop damage caused by sandhill crane flocks. In 2022, Wisconsin farmers reported around $900,000 worth of crop damages from cranes alone. Farmers are already granted federal depredation permits, allowing them to legally kill some cranes that are causing problems, which leads to about 1,000 crane deaths in Wisconsin every year. The International Crane Foundation in Wisconsin has been advocating for using a chemical to treat the planted corn seeds, known as Avapel, making it taste worse to the cranes while not being absorbed into the growing corn plant. This would allow for the cranes to hopefully leave the crops alone, removing the need to hunt them to protect crops. Those against crane hunting in Wisconsin cite their slow reproductive rate, cultural and social significance, and the possibility of whooping cranes being shot. Whooping cranes are an endangered species that sometimes flocks with sandhill cranes. We've done a variety of videos about them if you'd like to learn more. Although the hunting of sandhill cranes is controversial, it's at the very least a sign that the population has recovered from where it once was. Overall, sandhill crane populations are considered to be strong, although isolated subspecies populations that remain year-round in Mississippi and Cuba are considered endangered. In my personal opinion, I always enjoy seeing sandhill cranes and hearing their prehistoric-sounding vocalizations. In Wisconsin, I especially appreciate hearing them because it's a sign that spring is near and that the ice and the winter will hopefully soon be gone. Have you seen these iconic birds before? Let us know in the comments below, and thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on Badgerland Birding.